Purdue University Global. That is a fancy name, and it would look pretty slick to have a diploma from them up on your office wall, right? But did you know that Purdue University Global used to be a for-profit school that came under government suspicion for a lot of things? It got sold to Purdue University proper back in 2017 for $1, and they did change some things, but has it improved enough for you? We're going to grade PUG, or as I prefer, PUG, in 4 categories to help you decide by the end of this video whether it's a good school for you. And at the end of the video, I'll tell you whether PUG's past is something that you should be concerned about, as well as how to graduate from PUG in just 1 year. PUG is super friendly, and they accept transfer credits from all over the place, including other schools, community colleges, international credits, and third-party alternative credit options like Sophia, Study.com, CLEP, and others. They even have their own internal program called Ask, where you can get assessments of your own knowledge to see if they will just give you credit without you even having to take a class. And for several of their degrees, you can transfer in up to 3/4 of the degree, which is great because you could go into school with almost all of the degree done, pay university tuition prices for just like 1/4 of the degree, and wrap up super fast. And that's essentially what we mean by college hacking. People who have a lot of college credit left over from an attempt at college in the past at a regular school, and people who want to use third-party alternative credit to supercharge the process can both come together at Purdue University Global to graduate pretty stinking quickly, which is why Purdue Global is going to get an A for transfer friendliness. PUG is one of the most expensive competency-based schools out there at $2,500 for just a 10-week term. But wait, you might be asking, what's competency-based learning? It means you can take PUG classes at your own pace, which is a huge development. Instead of having to wait and do homework week by week and having assignments and courses that you have to do every 7 days and, an exam here, an exam there, a bunch of papers to write and discussion boards and quizzes all over the place. What they do at PUG is they simplify the process, and you hop into a class, you can read through the homework, watch the videos. There's not really a lot of assignments that you have to do, but there is one final project / assignment that you have to do. And if you can pass that one assignment, show competency essentially, then you pass that entire course. And then you move on to the next course. And in 10 weeks, you can finish a lot of courses at Purdue University Global. Let's say you passed just 5 classes in a 10-week term at Purdue University Global. For $2,500, that's $500 per class, and the average at most other colleges is $1,200 per class for a standard degree. So across an entire degree, that's going to be about $20,000 at Purdue University Global, where it would be about $50,000 at a standard-paced school for the exact same degree. Of course, we at College Hacked can help you graduate much quicker than either of those, and I've got a video down in the description link that'll show you more about how that's done. But even though PUG is very cheap, they're not the cheapest competency-based program. WGU costs about $22 per day when you average it out, and PUG costs $36. On top of that, there's like a $300 fee per term for technology that's not prominently posted on their website. And that is something that I do not like. It's still hard to argue with their price compared to the average, so Purdue Global gets a B for cost. When we assess degree options at a school, we're looking for variety and flexibility. And while PUG's variety isn't amazing, they do have most of the degrees that you really want, like business and IT and healthcare administration, and even criminal justice. Plus, they have specializations for a lot of these degrees that let you focus in a little bit more. And then let's take a look at degree flexibility. It's one thing to say, hey, you can transfer in up to 3/4 of a degree with us. But if there's not space in the degree where those credits could fall, it might not mean anything. Thankfully, PUG's degrees are typically, on average, I would say 2/3 flexible. So they have a general education that you can earn completely through Sophia or CLEP or Study.com. They've got typically a semi-decent size free elective section. So if you've got credits from a major that you're not using now, then you can slap some of those in there or go earn some CLEP exams and just finish up credits really quickly. But there are still schools out there that have much more flexible degrees. And I should point something out here. Yes, Purdue does have online degrees that are not competency-based, and I'm strictly not considering those because I don't think that the value proposition is there in the same way that it is for these competency-based Excel track degrees. So if you want to see what I'm talking about with this school, you're going to have to look up Purdue University Global Excel track. So due to low variety and slightly below average flexibility, Purdue University Global is going to get a C for degree choice. And now here's the big one, guys. Do students actually like going to Purdue Global? And let's start with some history. Let's talk about the controversies. Purdue Global used to be called Kaplan University, and you've heard me talk about for-profit universities and how they tend to just be bad. There are a couple of good ones out there, but in general, they tend to be marked by having high prices and low graduation rates. Kaplan University was investigated for quite a few things, but they were one of the ones that actually did a decent job of trying to fix the problems they caused. So Senator Tom Harkin, in a Senate investigation from 2010, said that Kaplan was the only university that his committee investigated that was making serious efforts to help students succeed, which is great. Purdue got purchased in 2017, and if we look at the students who came into Kaplan in 2016, within 6 years, only 25% of them had graduated, which is below average for online schools by a good bit. And now it's 2024, and we're looking at the metrics for the 2018 cohort, and still only about 27% of those guys have graduated. But that is an upward trend, and I'm pretty confident that the people over at Purdue who handle the academic side of what's happening at PUG are doing their best, and that we're going to continue to see those numbers rise. Students love the competency-based experience. It's hard to argue with that. Standard learning, week-by-week homework is okay if you need a little bit more structure, but man, if you've got a busy week here and a slow week here, competency-based learning is great because you can work, less here and more there and still get a ton done. Purdue University was ranked recently as the 43rd best university in the United States, which that is pretty cool, especially when you consider that there are literally thousands of them. They seem to have an open admissions policy, so as long as you're 18 and have a high school degree, you should be able to get in, and they accept international students, which is great news for our friends overseas who want competency-based versions of some of these really high-performing degrees that the Excel track here offers. And then we need to talk about probably the dumbest thing, and it's that they operate on a quarter credit system. So a PUG degree has 180 credits, whereas a normal semester credit degree is going to have 120. Now, it's the same amount of work, they just count it differently, but Purdue also then has you do a final in their competency-based system for every single credit. So that's 180 mini finals if you start from the beginning and go through the whole thing with Purdue, specifically. Whereas you go to a school like, let's say, UMPI that has about 40 classes per degree, and they have one final per course. So that's 40 finals versus 180 finals. Now, I think the 180 credits individually are smaller than what they would be at UMPI, but just thinking about having to do that many finals is, to me, a little bit overwhelming and mind-numbing. I recently had 2 clients graduate from Purdue University Global, and one of them really liked it, and one of them did not. I don't want to go into too much detail here, but essentially one of them flew through it and was going like, 1.5 modules per day, just really knocking it out super fast, finished up their final quarter of the degree in like maybe 2 terms. And the other guy was also going through very quickly and at his own pace, but he kept feeling like Purdue was trying to slow him down. Like there'd be a policy he wasn't told about that meant he had to wait for another term, or maybe he'd say, hey, put me in a new class, but they wouldn't do it quickly enough. And so he was just sitting there waiting, wishing he could be doing homework and trying to get, more of that competency-based accomplishment. Both ended up graduating, but the moral of the story remains, like when you go into online schooling, you have to watch out for yourself. You have to assume that nobody else is going to be doing the same thing, unless, of course, you sign up for a consultation with us, and then we'll look out for you. But it is very much a self-guided process, and that happens even more with competency-based approaches. So make sure that you have the email addresses and phone numbers of the people that you need to be able to contact, and in case they don't get back to you, try to go find their bosses' emails and phone numbers so that you can contact them if you have to. Finally, as for student reviews, Niche gave them a 4.5 out of 5 stars. US News & Report has them ranked in the bottom 25% of schools, and Online U has them at about 3.8 stars. Rate My Professor had them at 3.8 as well, and all of that is not stellar, it's not abysmal, but here's what students tended to have to say. They said there was little professor interaction, which is fair, especially in competency-based learning. It's mostly just you marching through the material. Lots of students liked the flexibility, the admissions process, and the financial aid process, said it was all very smooth, which is not praise that I usually hear about online schools. And then you had a mix of students, some of whom found the academics to be challenging and interesting, and some who just thought it was too easy and felt like they hadn't really learned anything, which again, pretty typical of online schooling. But it did seem to be the case from all that I read that people did feel like they were not being challenged at a Purdue level. So you do get that Purdue name, but you're not being put through all of the same paces that a Purdue University proper student is going through. All of this being considered, and it's a lot, I know, we're gonna go ahead and give them a B for student experience. So, amazing transfer friendliness, great price, meh degree choice, and pretty good student experience averages out to a 3.0 GPA for Purdue University Global. I do recommend PUG to a lot of my clients, especially those who want that fancy Purdue name on their diploma or who are international students who want a computer-focused degree. But it's not for everyone, and there are cheaper and quicker options out there that we talk about on this channel. And as promised, down in the description, I have placed a video that will explain to you how you can hack college and finish schools like Purdue University Global in under 1 year for easily under $10,000. That's all I've got for today. Thank you for watching, and happy hacking.